Hello, this is Michelle from sunny Pueblo, Colorado. Today I'm going to show you a little bit about how I cook when I cook for my ketogenic diet. Sometimes I just eat, meat and cheese and, vegetables whole. And sometimes I want a little bit more flavor or texture differences. And so this is one of the things I've done. I did a lot of searching on the internet for different keto recipes, and when I was actually looking for beverage replacers, I found Carrie Brown from the Keto Evangelist Kitchen. Pretty awesome. I'll put a link in the description below. And she has several cookbooks. This is an adaptation of her chili recipe. I didn't quite like her seasoning mix, so this one is more towards what I like. And I am going to do it in my Instant Pot. It is a slow cooker recipe, so I'm using the saute and the slow cooker function on my Instant Pot. I went ahead and took 2 cans of diced tomatoes. You just want to make sure you're not getting ones with extra added sugar. And placed them inside my Instant Pot. And I used my immersion blender to kind of crush them. So you can see there's still chunks, but it's a little bit more liquidy than it was before I started. Now, the next thing I'm going to do is I've already browned my ground beef along with the garlic and onions. And it's 2 pounds of ground beef, 2 cans of diced tomatoes, about 6 tablespoons of garlic cloves, and a small onion diced. Although in this case, I'm not doing the onion because in place of the beef broth, I am going to do my home canned French onion soup. So there's plenty of onions in there, and that's going to replace the onions that I would have sauteed with the ground beef. So I'm going to go ahead and put that in here and come right back at you. Okay, so when I browned the ground beef, I did it with the insert in the pot and the saute button right here. I hit the adjust button so that I got to the more side, which is the high heat for saute. I didn't make it completely cooked all the way through. I just wanted the ground beef browned. And then I'm going to go ahead and shift it to the slow cooker button, which is the one right above the saute. Oops. Apparently I need to hit cancel and slow cook. It's gonna slow cook for 6 hours, so we're going to increase the time to 6 hours. So this is going to be a nice tasty dinner for me. I have already put a teaspoon of sea salt in there, and now I'm going to add the rest of my seasonings. We'll let it do its little noisy stuff. So this is ground coriander. This is actually something I never would have thought of to put in my chili, but it's thanks to Carrie Brown's recipe that I tried it for the first time, and I actually liked it. I didn't like some of the other seasoning choices she had for chili, but this I liked. So this is just ground cumin, the cheap stuff, and I use it in pretty decent quantities, so we're talking about 2 tablespoons there. And then chili powder. Oops, there we go. And another couple of tablespoons. And if I find I need more, then I add more later. Now that it's in there, I'm going to go ahead and stir it up. Get all those seasonings mixed in. Now this is grass-fed beef. I bought a whole side of a cow this last summer, and this is ground beef from that cow. But you can use whatever ground beef you want. Now what you want to keep in mind is that with ketogenic diet, you want the fat. So I did not drain the fat from this ground beef, and it is not some 94:6 ratio of ground beef. That's probably closer to 80-20, but I don't really know for sure. But there was, certainly a decent amount of fat that came out when I was browning it. And that's why I would think it's probably around 80-20 instead of 70-30. Because it wasn't like a ton of If I was using 70-30, I probably would need to drain off some of the fat. But you do want to keep the fat because that fat is what helps get you full. And it is also a part of the ketogenic diet because you want no more than 20 grams of carbs per day. And you want, for women, I believe it's between 50 and 75 grams of protein, and it's more for men per day. And then you want your fat to be at least as much as your protein, if not 2, 3, even up to 4 times the amount of what you're consuming in protein on a ketogenic diet. So now I'm going to add first I'm going to add another thing that Carrie did was she used beef broth. It gives it a more beefy taste to it, and since you don't have the beans, which gives it a more earthy taste, the beef broth really aids with that taste. And it calls for a cup, and that's, you know, a little bit more than a cup because that's my jar of soup. And it does have those caramelized onions from when I canned the French onion soup. And it is good soup too, by the way. Alright, so as you can see, it's still a bit liquidy. And it's going to stay liquidy unless you do something. And that something is called glucomannan powder, sometimes known as cognac flour. I got this on Amazon.com. You can sometimes find it in natural health food stores and places like that. But it's fairly easy to get. It doesn't take a lot, and it's just a powder in there. And I'm going to measure out 1.5 teaspoons and sprinkle it over the top of the chili as I stir it in. That part's a little hard to do with only one hand, so I'm going to do it off camera. But I am going to stir it in and let this go for 6 hours. I'm going to taste it about 2 hours in to see if I need to adjust the seasonings anymore for my liking. And I'm going to add things like sour cream and shredded full-fat cheese to also give additional flavor tastes to this chili. And this is at least 5 to 6 meals for me. So when I make up a batch of the chili, I will eat like 1 or 2 servings over that day and the next day, and put more in the freezer. Sometimes I'll make a double batch and put a lot in the freezer. And that way, when I'm at school and I'm really tight on schedule, I can just bring chili with me, heat it up during my time where I get to eat, and have a nice hot meal at school that I didn't even have to think about. I will bring you back when the chili is done and let you see what it looks like in the bowl. But otherwise, we'll see you soon. And here it is. The chili is done. I put some in one of my bowls. I'm going to have a nice, delicious dinner. And I've got a couple of teaspoons, heaping teaspoons, of Daisy sour cream. I choose that brand mostly because most of the other brands in my stores have sugars added and other things. And those I don't want when I'm on a ketogenic diet. So Daisy is clean sour cream that I can eat no problem. I'm going to get down to eating dinner. Go ahead and like, subscribe if you found this useful and want to follow my keto journey along with the other things I'm going to be doing. I would love to have you along for the ride. Have a great day.